Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are all fine. So today we are launching our most anticipated Gas Week celebration, and I'm honored to be your MC for today. You want to pray on it? Thank you. Okay. So before we set the program, we call our sister Priscilla Bene to give us an opening prayer. Please, can you give a hand of applause to Sister Priscilla?
Please let's pray. Almighty everlasting Father, we thank you so much for today. We thank you so much for bringing us here together. Father, as we are here about to have our lunch, we pray that you come and take control of everything we do here. These are many things we ask. In the name of Jesus, we pray so much thanksgiving. Amen. Amen.
Okay. To continue our program, let me address one or two dignitaries we have in our midst. We have in our midst the head of the department, Professor Louis Esebi. Sitting by him is our patron, Dr. Chapman Wadi. You can do a lot better. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, this is the launch of Gas Week celebration, and I promise you this is going to be a short program. It's going to, take a little bit of your time, but trust me, it is best for, and it is sweet for, what we have and what the administration have for we all. Without wasting much time, we go to the podium the patron of the society, Dr. Chapman Wadi, to introduce to us why we are here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please, with a round of applause, let's call Dr. Chapman Wadi.
Hello, good evening. I'm sure you all know why we are here today. It is to launch the beginning of your our Gas Week celebration. This year, the theme of our celebration is empowering minds and unleashing potentials for the future. Yes, I think this is an apt theme considering what we've been through this semester. And I know HOD is going to talk a bit more on what has gone through the semester, but I'm here to encourage all of you to get involved with the Gas Week celebration. You know, our department is somewhat, I'll say, kind of formal. And we always have to be studying all the time. The week is the only time we can let our head down and to relax a little. This year, even though we're trying to relax, as HOD says, this year everything that we do has to have an academic theme. So all our relaxations will have an academic twinge to it. But the idea is that we need to enjoy it as much as we can. It is the only time we can have fun with the lecturers, we can do stuff and enjoy. I think the theme, what we are doing for the week, we have tomorrow you have your school. Tomorrow is your lecturers appreciation day, where you have an interaction with the lecturers, and then you have Thursday, which is rep your school. So we who went to good schools, this is a time for you to show what you've done. So it is a time for you to bring out the best and make your school proud. And then you got the quiz, which is going to be fun. This time it's not just going to be a quiz, so that we don't have any entertainment. So the only academic entertainment we have, we're going to make it fun. Your executives have managed to raise money, so they're going to make sure you enjoy yourself. So this is a time for you to get involved and make sure your week is fun and you enjoy it as much as possible. So I'll pass this. I'm hoping that you're going to make sure you enjoy your week. It's a time to relax before exams and show you enjoy it as much as you can and have a good time. So with this, I'll leave it to your MC to have you
Thank you very much, Dr. Chapman. As Doctor said, this week is going to be very exciting. It's a whole lot of activities coming up, and trust me, we are all going to enjoy these activities. Okay. Without wasting my time, we are going to call on the HOD to give us a very short address. The HOD is going to talk about the theme, as the theme goes, empowering minds, unleashing potentials for the future. Ladies and gentlemen,
Good evening to you all. Right. I can see the atmosphere doesn't look too happy, but you have to be happy, okay? I decided to make it a little bit interactive and just tell you the plan, what the department is all about, and what we've been through as a department. Okay. The Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science, as you know, has been with the university for a while. The department used to be together with mathematics department, and then later separated. It started as statistics department first, then mathematics came on board, then actuarial science came on board. This is a department that was virtually manned by a couple of lecturers, okay, and with a few numbers. It started as a service department. That's to say, people were not ideally graduating out of statistics or co, but there were courses that other departments took from statistics. The course, the discipline, as I always say when I grant interview, it's a very challenging one. We all understand any quantitative intensive discipline is challenging. Okay? People in that kind of discipline are always seen as people occupying a silent office. When I say a silent office, they are the makers of society, but they don't speak about what they do. But society use what they do. You understand me? We have people that are in offices or disciplines that are loud. They speak to societal issues. Okay? Those are the disciplines that interface with society most often. Sociology, political science, economics. They interface with society a number of times. And so these courses are popular because the masses know about them. But for our discipline, you have to have some special kind of quality, you understand, to belong to this discipline. Because the discipline is a discipline that would make tools, okay, to make algorithmic decisions under uncertainty. The discipline is a discipline that will do the developments that people would use. So we say we are developers of statistics. Then people out there in other disciplines will come in as users of the program, of the statistics. Now, I know in the coming last semester or a couple of academic semesters ago, I know it has not been easy. I've met with senior members on several times, or several academic senior members meeting and discussed with them about progress of the department, academic performance of students. The challenge here is that as time goes by, your academic performance, when I say your, I mean students of the department, is declining. It's not by any means telling us that we are not admitting good students or you people are not doing so well on the program. But remember, the university entreats every academic faculty to revise or update whatever course they are teaching. Every 5 years you have to update. Now, some do it even every year, some do it every 3 years and all. So whatever you are learning now are not necessarily what your predecessors, predecessors actually, or your successors would learn, because there will be differences, because the academic curriculum keeps upgrading. The kind of program you are doing now, if you are doing statistics, actuarials and whatever, it's not the same thing that those in the previous curriculum did. We have added a few more courses. The difficulty nature has started changing. It's becoming tighter because now things are, the older things we've passed that. Now we have ChatGPT, AIs and all these things, and we are moving towards these kind of words, and things are becoming a little bit tougher. That's some of the challenges we are having. Another thing is that currently we are in a society that is highly distracted by social media and other kind of activities. And so you have a lot of things that puts you away from your books. Unlike before, when if you even want to access a computer, you have to walk to a computer lab. Now every student has a laptop and all. I see that the availability of these instruments or these tools should rather enhance our academics, not to move us away from academics. And so as a motivation factor, I know I've had most of the reports from you students, from faculty, that some of you are giving up, you just want to stop the program, some of you want to go to other programs. I've had parents come to me with their children, their wards, tell me they want to do a new application into other programs and all. Let me tell you this. It is better for you to get a third class or a lower in statistics and actuarial science than to go and do computer science and get a first class. Let me let you understand that this emerging data science thing you are talking about is not computer science. You understand me? The course is statistics and actuarial science. And you will see that very soon. The University of Ghana is trying to mount data science program. And all the faculty, about 90% of people teaching are my faculty, people in the Department of Statistics. You understand? You have to know, because this data science thing we are talking about is about machine learning. It's about matching the classical statistical theory to machine learning algorithms. And these are all statistics. What is classical statistical theory? How can you talk about artificial neural network if you are not a statistician? How can you talk about Bayesian inference if you are not a statistician? So we are not too much interested in programming the thing to give you the results. Our interest is doing the models. I mean, putting a GUI, graphic user interface on programs, is very easy for anybody to do. But to develop the model to solve the problem, that is the statistics aspect of the whole thing. And that is what you guys are learning. It is difficult because you are learning to develop something, to generate models, while some are learning how to make those models you have developed friendly to society. So if I want to make the models friendly to society, all I do is to put graphics around it and tell people to point and click here and upload. But what actually does the work, you do it. And so it will be very difficult for you to go around that. And I encourage all of you, the area of, you cannot do statistics and actuarial science and come out poor. It cannot happen. You cannot do it and come out poor. Every institution there is data. Somebody needs to crunch the data and give them results. You can talk to your patron. I am always busy. We are busy always. Industry practitioners, they are calling, can you do this for us? We don't even have time to sometimes attend to some of them. That's the reason why we are training you to come and pick up some of these mantles. When you go to any organization, the program you are doing, you are part of management because you have to make decisions. Use your models to make decisions for management to formulate their policies. You have to go to management meeting to interpret to them whatever the algorithms or models you have done and how it interprets into the organizational goals and stuff like that. And so you are in the right place. You wouldn't get it cheap because you came the hard way. You want to do something that will change society, not to go for the norm. If you want to just add up to the norm, that's when you get it easy. And so I don't want you to lose hope. Myself, there were times as a student, I got worse grades. I got worse grades. There were times I also felt like I want to give up. I recall my level 200 second semester. Myself and a colleague of mine went to sit down there and we're thinking of just dropping mathematics or something. You get a thing. It's challenging, yes, that's how it is. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. So don't be too much worried. That's how come we are here. My proposal of posting your results on the notice board is not to shame you or make people make fun of you, but it's just to make you, because I came to realize that a number of students actually came to me with challenges. Actually, they don't look at their results at the MIS way because of maybe fear of whatever they were going to get. And so their decision is that I will not look, I'll wait till, so they wait till a semester is over. They later come to realize that if I had looked, I got an F, I could just do the receipt or something. And I recall my time when I was a student. I'll be at home and a colleague of mine will call me and say that the semester is starting, this semester your GPA is maybe 3 points. Because he can go to every notice board and list all the courses I did, write my grades, and then calculate my GPA, and call me at home and tell me, you got this GPA. Because of that kind of thing, you always want to put effort because you don't want your friend to see you are not doing too well and the likes like that. So I felt it to encourage competition, and it did the magic. When I did post that, I saw that that very week the library was full. You get the point. And you are not too bad as you are not bad students. The kind of things we get students here that are making 90s, 80s and all. So the course is challenging, and that's the grace that comes with it. But I want you to put in more efforts. You encourage yourself. The lecturers know about this. They are also going to do their best. The moderation committee is aware about this. We also try and put in the best for you. Come together. You wouldn't get it easy. Anything that comes very successful at the end, you have to put in a lot of efforts. And so come together as a team. Okay, student group, come to us. 4 years is very short. These 4 years, you are studying, it's very short. Before you realize the 4 years is over, I know most of you are in level 400. Recall when you came to level 100. So put in the effort whilst you are students. We always try to make sure your 400 is not too bad because you are bound to leave. You put in effort. I always say that level 400, if you put in more effort, you can get 4.0 because it's the easiest level amongst all. 300 very challenging. Very, very challenging in 300. But 400 is very flexible and all. Guys, I'm encouraging you. You put aside some of the things that push you away from Vogue, okay? And then focus on your academic activities. When you have personal encounters, we have course advisors that are there to give you what you want. Just come talk to us. The lecturers are very liberal, except you don't want to talk to us. We would direct you and guide you through. You get an F, it is not done with. You don't feel bad about that. Just receive it and get it over. Because getting an F in statistics program, it's like getting an A in some of the other disciplines. So, because the effort you put in our company, everybody knows that. The effort is tough. And that's how come our current TAs, not everybody got a first class, but almost all of them are leaving their shops. Almost all of them have gotten funding and they want to leave. They've come to talk to me about it. We have students who got second class lower. They are in advanced universities in the US and all. Because they know, by the time you get second class lower here, you are like first class A++ in tech and other universities. Yeah. You know, you understand me? And so you just put in the efforts, right? And then we will support you. Now back to the general administration of the department. Since I took over as head of department, my focus has been to at least do some projects and renovations to make your stay in the department a little bit okay. So you saw that we did a little touch to your library, trying to give you lockers and all. We have actually, that is to improve security at the library. You get to lock your staffs. We also extended the CCTV cameras because we felt that it wasn't capturing every place, but we have upgraded it to 32 channels, and now you see that at the back of the building and everywhere there is CCTV cameras. We went ahead to also mount floodlights, so you see them all over the place, so that in the evenings when you come around to study, you would see. The floodlight particularly was supported by the department and your student union. They came together, so your dues and contributions even came together and these things. You see the way we are doing our program. It didn't used to be like this. We decided to upgrade it and put a touch to it so that the computers at your right hand side are HPCs. They are not normal computers. These ones, we actually don't sit behind them to work. You stay in your office, you throw simulations and other programming activity to it, and it solves it and gets it back to you. So these are 10 of them for PhDs and master students to use and do their research. Okay, another thing we have done is that your student union donated to the department. I mean, they will talk about their project, but I just want to acknowledge them. Donated to the department, very nice box, notice box. I mean, at least we could mount your grades on those notices. Notice, but very beautiful ones at the far right of the department. So you see them, and then we acknowledge them, and we are very grateful for that. The department used to have a heavy challenge when it comes to printing of your exam questions. That's the more reason why we try to move online and do some Sakai things. The school has a printing unit, but because of the load on it, it usually comes down. So sometimes a day to write in your IA, we are running a task trying to get a place to print. Your student union donated to the department a very powerful photocopier machine, very beautiful one. We just took delivery of that yesterday, and that's an excellent thing they've done for us. They, on top of that, also gave a very high-powered printer, okay, that could run a lot of copies at the same time. They are doing a lot. They are going to, they are at the verge of getting us a public address system in the lecture rooms, modern ones, public address systems to improve your stay. Okay, they are going to, your projectors, the way we are picking them up and down, they are going to mount, and they've contracted that. So all the lecture theaters, projectors will be mounted with the screens, so you have handy access to that. And they also donated to the lecture community. Maybe you could, after a year, you could have an opportunity to look at our 207. That's the where the lecturers have been meetings and deliberate about you. They donated a very nice furniture set, very expensive one, to the lecturers. And I mean, that they said they are using it in appreciation to the department. But we, as a department, has also done a lot. The lecturers have put in more effort. We've done a lot to improve your stay in the department. We are hoping. We know security is of essence. In recent times, we have had 1 or 2 security issues, and that's how come we were moved to doing these security developments. If there is a need to talk to anybody, they have the mantra, see something or say something. Just come and report any unforeseen or not too popular an activity you see around the department. I've promised the student, I'm going to open the lecture venues for you during the exam period, so you have access to places to study. So we will take care of that. If you have any extreme academic challenge, talk to us. If need be, come to me and talk to me. Because don't lose hope. Whatever you are doing is challenging, and that's the reason why it's happening. What is happening is happening. But come and talk to us. We will encourage you and maybe show you something, because we are experienced in the game. We've passed through the place you are passing. So we'll be able to tell you what to do, what not to do, and you will come out successful. But I want to use this opportunity to also thank your patron who has been with the student front. I mean, they've not had it easy with me. They've come with a lot of programs. I cancel virtually everything. And then tell you can't do this, let's go for academic, this, that, and that. It's not been too exciting. What you want to have, the trips you want to go, the fun, this thing. But I believe that when we put a lot of effort in the academics and start seeing the success or excellence coming out, there will be time for fun. You understand me? Always we can play and do all the games. I'm not saying you stick to your books every minute and then there's relaxation periods, but I encourage that you put more effort on the books, because that's just for a short period, after which time is there for you to do a lot of things. But believe you me, we also take a look at your results. It's not just that we sit there and put everybody F, happy, no. We have a moderation committee that looks holistically at the overall performance of students and see exactly what can be done. Even right from the setting of the examination questions, we look at the difficulty level, okay? We juxtapose it with what was taught in class and make sure the questions are standard enough and they are not that which the students cannot do. We go beyond that to moderate your results and make sure the performance is cohort specific, not that everybody is failing or that kind of thing. All right, but to encourage you, even though I play like Oliver Twist, ask for more. There were courses that your results were exceptional. A lot of courses. The very few ones I mounted were those that I felt the results were not too good. But there were some courses that almost everybody got. The minimum was a B+, some were courses that your results were exceptional. And so I want to also commend you for that. And that it's not as if every course is bad. You did very well in most of the courses, but there were isolated few from level 100 to 400 that the results were not too good, that I decided to post for you to be aware of the results, all right? And then sit up. Put yourself in your week celebration. There will be a lot more. Your student union have been able to secure some form of funding, which will be formalized or will notify you formally from a company called Kulana Limited. They will be sponsoring your data hackathon. And so the data hackathon is going to be a big show. You would have a number of lecturers there. The prize tags are big for the winning group, the second, and it's going to be a lot of advertisements all over it, and we'll make a lot of noise. We are also sponsoring your quiz program. We encourage a lot of female or ladies participation in the quiz, and then we would make it a fun. Let's make these academic activities our fun games, okay? Yes. And try and be happy with them. All right. And so as we go around along the week celebration, let's put in mind that we are in a very strong department. Ours is to develop for the nation. Ours is to propound theories, models to build our nation. Ours is to do the prediction. Ours is to make decisions under uncertainty. And it's a challenging office, a silent one and deep, because an office that requires deep thinking, deep learning, okay, should always be silent and challenging, because deep minds need silent environment. But we are going to be along with you, all your programs, and put yourself in it. And let's use this opportunity to make our department great and strong. Thank you very much.
Is that all you can do? You can do it. Thank you very much, HOD, for this address. We really appreciate it. Next on the list, are you ready to listen to the president of the Student Society? Are you ready? Please, are you ready? Yeah, ready. Good. Without wasting much time, let's call the president of the Student Society, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I like to be using HOD more often in place of his title as the professor. The last time I had the opportunity to ask about what it takes to be a professor, I was so fascinated. So, please, his name is Professor Luis. It's good to see most of you here. I'm so happy to have our HOD, Professor Luis Asiri here, our patron, Dr. Charlotte Chapman Wadi also here. I also see Dr. Okan also here.
So fast forward, good evening fellow members of the University of Ghana Actuarial Science and Statistics Society. Once again, it is a great honor to stand before you to give an address on the state of society, of our society as we begin our UGAS Week celebration. Clearly, UGAS, which is the student arm of the Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science, is a society with students at heart and has over the years impacted lives and fostered development in this reputable department. Tonight's address focuses on the projects that my administration has done and those in the course of establishment. A more general address will be given during the handing over and will focus on everything encompassing the society. Before I proceed with the projects, I want to use this opportunity to thank our HOD, Professor Luis Asiedu, and our patron, Dr. Charlotte Chapman Wadi, together with some of the senior lecturers of this society, like Dr. Eric Okran and Dr. Enoch Sechiebwa, for their massive support and guidance in our administration. I will also commend my executive team for their hard work and dedication towards the progress of our beloved society, especially my beautiful Vice President and Excellency You have been a great team and very helpful to my administration. The previous administration, led by the former president, Her Excellency Ekia Sechiwa Igwantabisa, and her Vice President Belinda Ejeyi Asamoah, handed over to our administration on the 26th of September 2022, prior to the 2022-2023 academic year. Having set a good example to us, we have worked relentlessly for the development and best interest of the members of this society. Our administration began with the institution of the UGAS Computer Literacy and Coding Club, an initiative we deem very crucial in this age of modern and advanced technology. Members of the club have been given license to professional platforms such as DataCamp and Coursera to be equipped with skills, computer skills in the area of data science, data analytics, and machine learning. This club has been meeting on Saturdays since its establishment and promises to continue in the long term. Interested members are entreated to be on the alert for the next application or next cohort. Coupled with the UGAS Computer Literacy and Coding Club is the institution of the UGAS Actuarial Professional Club. This club has also been established to encourage our dear actuarial science students to actively pursue the actuarial profession. Materials for the actuarial exams P and FM have been made available to members of the club with funding provided for meriting students. This is fostered by the kind courtesy of assets. 2 notice boards, just like our HOD mentioned earlier, have been installed on the 1st and 2nd floors of the department to reduce the overcrowding of students are the notice boards in front of start room 202 and start room 002. This, we believe, will prevent the noise or disturbances during class sessions. More importantly, the notice boards will serve students with information on student opportunities and announcements. The students' washroom has been renovated together with the massive support of our HOD and has been equipped with soap dispensers and hand dryers. Order is being processed for the installation of a new PA system for our lecture halls to aid in teaching and learning. Our administration is aware of the lack of tables and chairs in the start room 202. Indisputably, this poses a major inconvenience as students have to find tables and chairs from other lecture halls and convey them to the start room 202 during classes. Together with the HOD, measures are being put in place to make provisions for this. Projectors are going to be installed in all lecture halls to aid in presentation during lectures. To increase security and visibility around the department at night, powerful floodlights have been installed at vantage points around the department. Printing and photocopying machines, together with executive meeting chairs, have been made available at the staff common room for the lectures and also for students' purposes. The printing and photocopying machine will serve the printing of exam scripts, like our HOD made mention of, as well as the printing of documents for the administration of the department and the UGA student body. This is being done in connection with the Lecturers' Appreciation Day introduced by the previous administration and included in the UGA's week celebration. The UGA student office is being renovated. This office was presented to us by the previous administration in collaboration with our HOD, Professor Louis Asiedu, and we are also renovating it for the next administration. We hope they continue with the good work our administration has initiated, and even do more for the best interest of students in this society. Lastly, as one of the measures to improve students' academic performance, an award scheme is being prepared. One that will not only encourage students to pursue academic excellence, but also encourage students to make positive impacts among their mates as well as in the society. And finally, entreat students to be involved in extracurricular activities. This, we believe, will foster development and improve upon the lives of all members in the society. Members who are financially constrained and at the verge of dropping out of school or deferring their programs are encouraged to reach out to the executives of the society as measures are being put in place together with the HOD and patrons of the society to assist them take advantage of the scholarship opportunities put in place by the college and school to support such students. I will end by entreating us all to look out for one another, be each other's keeper, and endeavor to be actively involved in all developmental projects of our society. God bless the University of Ghana Actuarial Science and Statistics Society. God bless the University of Ghana, and God bless Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much. This will tell you that the student administration is doing its best for the good development of the society. And also, the administration itself is putting things in place for the betterment of regards. Thank you very much once again, Mr. President. Moving on. We have a short presentation by Gabriel Abobi, a level 400 single major statistics student, Google Developer Student Lab Lead for University of Ghana. He's here to talk about the use of statistics in machine learning and artificial intelligence. Without wasting much time, let's call our brother Gabriel to come and
There's no crowdsource influencer and a couple of other things. Okay, so the machine learning field is continuously evolving and one of the fastest growing fields in technology. There's a rapid emergence of a whole new generation of data and ML. As you all know, we've started hearing of stuff like big data, large language models, and all these things are creating jobs. Because if you cast your mind back some few years ago, we didn't have any job like a machine learning engineer. But now we have people who can sit at the comfort of their homes, work with international companies, and they get paid high amounts of money. Not because they are doing something out of the world, but because they've learned other things. And if you are here and you are studying statistics or actuarial science, you can also become like these people. And these are some of the top data science jobs. And if you look on the far right, the bottom, you see that there's a statistician. So it means everything that we are learning here is important, and there's a job out there. And if you go to the next slide, you realize that what? There's a 65% potential company adoption of data science. So it means if you are here, there are some companies which they don't even know how they can apply data science. If you are here, you can go to them and tell them this data that you guys are using. For example, if you know of any financial institution, we have something called customer churn. So if you use stuff like Apple Music, Spotify, you realize that you'll get to a point, they'll start sending you discount codes and stuff like that. It's because they have AI and machine learning models in place where they realize that you are likely to stop using the service after some time. So based on this, they're able to send you discount codes and stuff that will spark your interest. And all these things are machine learning models that you and I have all learned. If you are in level 100, you've literally learned of almost everything. It's just left for the application aspect. And you can realize that there's a 117.2 billion global market size for data science jobs. And every day, there are about 98,000 jobs posted on machine learning. So if you are here, you shouldn't graduate with a statistics degree and be unemployed. Because if you look around, there are several projects that you can do. And all these Mark Zuckerberg and all these Elon Musk, they just took advantage of opportunities. And if you look around you, there are several problems. You can look around you and solve problems with statistics, and you get money. So I'd like to throw this question to you. Do you think that the demand for data engineering exceeds data scientists? What do you think? It's general. Do you think that the demand for data engineers exceeds data scientists? Anyone? It's just a yes or no question. And there are no kings here. Anyone? What do you think? You said no. Why? But that's the reality. The demand for data engineers is like 5 times that of data scientists. So data engineers, they put in place the measures for collecting the data. You realize that in machine learning, the accuracy of your data also has a positive correlation with the quality of the model that you build. If you take wrong data, the model will be wrong. And when you deploy a model, it wouldn't be applicable in the real world. So what I want us to do today is to just have a brief overview of statistics, machine learning, AI, the relationship, how the statistics that we are learning is being applied, some concepts and algorithms, and then we look at some case studies and some future trends. So there's this famous quote that says that statistics is the grammar of science, machine learning is the syntax, and artificial intelligence is the poetry. So what he's trying to say is that these artificial intelligence and machine learning models are all, if I want to put it, they are all children of statistics. So if you see someone talking about AI and machine learning, they are not talking about anything abstract. They are talking about stuff that we've already learned or stuff that we already have a fair idea about. So the first question that I would like to ask is, we've all heard of statistics. If you are here, you are doing either actuarial science or statistics. So what do you think is statistics? Well, what is statistics? Let's make it interactive. Anyone, you can just stand up and say.
Okay, I will say what it's in simple terms, what I can say is that statistics is the study of collecting data, analyzing and then interpreting them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This way. So just as I said, statistics is the science of collecting, analyzing, interpreting, and presenting data. So we realize that in the real world, we have censuses and all those things. Why do you think that countries spend so much money on census and these household surveys? Because they need data. And this data is what they use to make informed decisions. So as a statistician, the job is to collect data, analyze it, and make it easier or understandable to the average person. If you're a statistician and you cannot communicate your data to someone who is not a statistician, then you are not a statistician. Because the main goal is to collect the data, interpret it, and make it what? Easy and understandable to everyone. That's how can we use visualization, we use charts and all those things to make it more visually appealing. So if any of you uses R here, there's an R package called Shiny. And during COVID, most of the dashboards that were being, or the website that were being posted, you see in Ghana we had a dashboard where you can go and you see number of active cases, those dead and all those things. In the US, some of the states, they used a package in our called Shiny to create these dashboards. And these are things that we can also do, because R is a programming language for statisticians. So everything that we are learning here is practical. And machine learning, on the other hand, is a type of artificial intelligence that allows software applications to become more accurate in predicting outcomes without being programmed to do so. So we know of learning. Everyone here knows of learning, and everyone knows of machine. So machine learning is like telling machines to act like humans. You understand? And it's a branch, or it's under artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the broader picture, and machine learning is an aspect of it. And then AI, on the other hand, is the ability of a computer machine to mimic the cognitive functions that humans associate with other human minds, such as learning and problem solving. So with AI, or artificial intelligence, we are trying to make computers mimic human minds. So HOD was saying something about neural networks. So if you did biology here, you know of neurons, right? So brain and all those things. And in machine learning and artificial intelligence, you have something called neural networks, which functions just like the human brain. So we are trying to make machines mimic. You see these robots, these autonomous driving, where you can sit in a car, no one in the car will be driving automatically. All these things are applications of statistics. And we'll get to that in this business. So these are some of the most common statistical concepts that are being applied in machine learning. We have probability theory. So probability theory is essential in machine learning as it allows us to model uncertainty and quantify the likelihood of events. It provides a framework for probabilistic modeling and inference, enabling us to make predictions and estimate probabilities. So with every machine learning model that you create, when you are done, you have some probabilities that you have to make. That's how come when you are done, you calculate some metrics like the precision, accuracy, F1 score, silhouette score, and all those things. Because you know that the model that you've done as a statistician, there are some probabilities, there are some likelihood. It's possible that the model may function on a certain type of data. For example, let's say you created a machine learning model for predicting income based on years of experience, and you used data in Ghana. It's likely that you may not work with data in the US. So as a statistician, with the help of probability theory, you're able to add some probabilities to your models that you create. And also descriptive statistics. So descriptive statistics helps us to summarize and visualize data, providing insights into the central tendency, variability, and the distribution of the data. So if you want to use a machine learning model like linear regression, there are some assumptions that has to be satisfied. And before you can see these assumptions, we do descriptive statistics or exploratory data analysis, where you see if the data follows a normal distribution. If it doesn't follow a normal distribution, where is the mean, what's the spread, the variance, and all those things. So all these things are stuff that we've all been taught, or we are going to be taught, one way or the other. And these are all things that are being applied in machine learning. Another thing is inferential statistics. So the statistical inference that we did, started 2024. I know most of us didn't like it, but it's a practical course. When we were being taught, we were thinking of this thing is too difficult, we don't see the practicality of it. But in machine learning, all these things are being applied because they allow us to draw conclusions and make predictions about a population based on a sample. Something like hypothesis testing. If you are building a model, you should be able to formulate your hypothesis and all these things. So, for any machine learning model, the main thing is the data. As I said earlier, your data is wrong or your data is not in the right format. The model that you create will also not be in the right format. That's how come I can say most of the effort that go into any machine learning or artificial intelligence project is in relation to data pre-processing and data cleaning. Because if you get a clean data, all that's left is the modeling. If your data is not in the right format, when you run the code, it might not even work. So data pre-processing is very important in machine learning. So it's the process of cleaning, formatting, and transforming data so that it can be used by machine learning algorithms is what we call data pre-processing. Some of the most common errors are the missing values, outliers, and noise. So when you are gathering data, realize that, for example, if you send out a questionnaire and you ask people for their beliefs on certain things, and it's not mandatory, a lot of people might skip. But maybe in your model, this is a variable that's of interest. So if there are missing values, it means you cannot use that. So if you have missing values and all those things, there are several ways you can estimate the missing values. And if your data is not big enough, there are ways you can estimate. And if your data is too big, that when you take out the missing values, it may not affect it. We have another way of going about that. So here are some of the statistical learning algorithms. So basically, we have three main types of machine learning algorithms. We have the supervised learning, unsupervised, and then reinforcement. So with the supervised, just as the name suggests, supervised. It's like you are writing an exam, you are being supervised. Right? So with the supervised, the algorithm is giving label data and learns to predict the label for new data. So for example, if you did regression in level 200 or in level 400, realize that you are given a data set, you have the y values and the x values, right? When you're able to find your estimates, that's the beta naught and the beta 1, realize that whenever you input an x, you are supposed to get a y based on the data. So this is another form of machine learning. This is a machine learning algorithm. So with this model, you are providing the model with what? A labeled data set. So you have your x and the y. So you train it, and then you ask it to predict whenever you give it an x value. So all those things that we were doing, finding beta naught, finding beta 1, these are all machine learning algorithms. That can be done with the machine. But the advantage that we have over those doing computer science and the stuff is that we know the assumptions and how to get it. You understand? A machine, someone who is doing computer science knows that there's a machine learning model called linear regression, logistic regression, naive Bayes, all these things. But they don't really understand the foundations of these things. And that's how come we have an upper hand over them when it comes to these things. So the other type is the unsupervised learning. So with this, the algorithm is not giving label data, but it learns how to find patterns in the data. So an example is clustering, and then time series. So all these time series, if you did regression in level 200, you did time series, and then in level 400, you do time series again. So these are all practical courses. So if you are being taught in class, one thing that would help is that if you are being taught the theory aspect in class, try as much as possible to read on how you can apply it in real life. Because if you are being taught regression in level 200, it means you can start your project in level 200. Because you know one model that you can use to do your project. So let's try as much as possible to read beyond what we are being given in class. And then that way we will appreciate what we learn more. And then another one is the reinforcement learning. So with this, the machine learning is not giving any data, but then it's not giving any label data. But what it do is that it learns how to behave in an optimal way by trial and error. So, for example, if you know of the game called chess, right, you can actually create a machine learning model to learn how to play chess. But then you are not going to teach it how to play chess, but it will learn how to play it with itself. Try moves, and then when it tries it and it doesn't work, it will try another one. So it's trial and error. So if any of you have used Google Bard before, you realize that when you log in, the first thing that comes is show me how to play a certain chess move in Python. And when it was being launched at the Google I/O event this year, it was displayed. So this is another form of machine learning, which is called reinforcement learning. And robotics and all those things form under this type of machine learning. And then, yeah, I think I tackled this, but let me go over it again. So with machine learning and artificial intelligence, whenever you are done creating your model, you have to evaluate your model to see whether your model is the best model or not. Because you might have a data which can be used to, let's say, it might satisfy a couple of or different machine learning models, but then you want to try and see which one has the best prediction. So with this, we do what we call model evaluation and validation. And to assess the performance of machine learning models, we have various evaluation metrics like the accuracy, precision, recall, F1 score, where they use a prediction value where the model was able to do correctly. These are all formulas that you can read on and we also have cross-validation techniques which are used to estimate the performance and generalization ability of machine learning models. So this is how come when you are doing machine learning model, you are building any machine learning model, we do what we call training and test. Your data, you divide it into train and test. So mostly people do it 75-25. So you use 75 to train your model, and then you use 25 to test the model to see whether the model that you built actually predicts the right data. And then there's also the bias variance trade-off, which is also a key consideration in machine learning knowledge, where models with high bias may underfit the data, and models with high variance may overfit the data. And these things are level 100 stuff, where we learn those measures of central attendance, even in SHS, where you learn the mean, variance, and standard deviation, and all these things. All these things are applied in machine learning. So here are some of the statistical techniques that are used in machine learning: linear regression, logistic regression, decision trees. If you are doing decision theory, then you have a fair idea of how decision trees work. So it's like you start at a node, and then if A, then B. So it gets to a point, it terminates, and then it gets to a point, then it follows the trend. So let's say you feed the model, the machine with a picture of a cat. First, it goes into the system, but then the system has to identify whether it's a cat or it's a dog. So there's a branch. So you input it, you give it the image. So it's either a cat or a dog. So it's a cat. If it's a cat, what type of cat? You see, so it goes till it terminates. So that's the decision tree. You have random forest, support vector machines, and the naive Bayes classifier. So the naive Bayes classifier is strictly based on the Bayes theorem, which all of us here know of. Bayes theorem level 100. And in level 400, if you are doing Bayesian statistics, you appreciate it more, where you know the prior, the posterior, and the likely functional models. These are all machine learning models that uses statistics. And in the field of AI, we have clustering algorithms, dimensionality reduction techniques like the principal component analysis. All these things are purely statistics. Time series analysis, natural language processing, text analysis. So these large language models like the ChatGPT and all these things, they are trained in natural language processing. That's how come when you query it in a certain way, you may not get the feedback that you want, because it was trained to act like a human. So you can't go to ChatGPT and say Accra. You understand? When you say Accra, it doesn't make sense. Because if you are conversing with me, you won't just say Accra, but you might say probably how many people live in Accra. This is natural language, and this is natural language processing. So all these ChatGPT and all these things that you are saying, they are not things beyond us. They are things that we as statisticians built. You understand? So that's how come you can ask ChatGPT a question and you'll be like, based on the data that it was trained on, it doesn't have information about this. For example, if you ask it to describe the iPhone 14, for example, it will tell you that it doesn't have information after, I think, 2019 or so. So it cuts off after 2019. So anything beyond 2019 is not able to say. It's because the data that was used to train it is up to 2019. And that's a whole field on its own called large language models. And if you read more, you realize you appreciate what we do more. So here are some case studies of how the statistics that we learn is being applied in machine learning. So the first one is Netflix movie recommendation system. So you realize that if you watch a certain genre of movie on Netflix for a long time, anytime that you go, they will recommend that movie to you. Because they've learned some pattern about you. They've realized that you prefer this type of movies at this time. You understand? And this is all statistics and machine learning. They are learning from your behavior, and then they use that to recommend. So these are called recommendation systems. And the same thing with Amazon. And Google search engine uses the same machine learning to show some show some content about the others. So that's what in marketing they call it search engine optimization. So it goes through, or we call it indexing. So we go through every website and follow through all of it, and then it picks out certain key information. So whenever you search for something, it goes back to its database, and then it shows that thing to you. There's another application of machine learning. And YouTube video recommendation is just like the Netflix. Online credit card fraud detection. That's another application of machine learning. For example, the card owner is in the US, and the person has used the card for, let's say, 10, 15 years. The person never buys outside of the US. But all of a sudden, the person buys in Ghana. You understand? The system has data on the person. So it has identified that the person doesn't buy outside Ghana. So it might classify that as fraud. You understand? And that's another way we apply statistics in real world to help with fraud detection and all those things. Which means that if you are doing statistics, you can work everywhere. Anywhere there's data, you can work there. Another one is Google Photos uses machine learning to identify and organize photos. So you realize that you can go to Google Photos and you realize that they've created a folder for you like summer, winter. These are all machine learning models. They pick out certain key information and then they use it to classify. Google Lens, where you can just point your camera on something and it identifies it to you. There's also machine learning. And with that, we have people who contribute on the behind the scenes. So that's how come we have Google crowdsource, where people contribute data to help make AI more relevant. So you realize that now there are certain things that you can translate from English to Akan, because there are people in Ghana here who are contributing data to make it accessible. So if you are here, you can also contribute. So that, who knows, in the near future, you can go to Google and everything will be, it's possible. It's because they don't have data on that. That's how come they can translate it to Chinese, because they have enough data on that. You understand? And then another thing is Tesla. Everyone here knows of Tesla. Who doesn't know of Tesla? Who doesn't know of Elon Musk? Everyone knows of Elon Musk, right? Tesla is one of his companies, and they are into what? Autonomous driving, where you can sit in your car and then the car will automatically drive itself. These are all machine learning algorithms. They are being trained up. That's how come it can be moving as soon as it detects someone in front of it, it will automatically stop. You understand? It's because it has been trained severally. But the training aspects, mostly they don't show us. So we think it's magic. There's no magic. It's the statistics that we are learning that's being applied. But with with the emergence of everything, there are some ethical considerations and biases. So some of the ethical considerations are fairness, privacy, and transparency. Now, because of this AI and stuff, we have voice cloning, where if you input, if you feed your model a certain type of AI model with a lot of voices, like your voices, it can clone your voice. You can just type something and it will automatically say that in your voice. These are all machine learning algorithms, but some people are using it to do bad things. You understand? So these are all ethical considerations. Fairness. Some, like as I said, chi is not. We don't have enough data on chi. You understand? So it is not representative. These are all considerations. And then privacy. Privacy is also another ethical consideration. And there may be some biases. And these biases may be as a result of either selection, measurement, or the algorithms. Even though we try our best to eliminate these errors, sometimes we have sampling and non-sampling errors. There are some errors that are beyond the control. But because we are statisticians, there are ways we can at least mitigate some of these biases, like data collection, during data collection, and make sure that the data you collect meets certain standards. And also model training. You train your model in the right way. And then model evaluation. Once you're done training your model, you evaluate your model to see if it performs very well before you deploy it. So we have another area where we call ML ops, machine learning operations, where after you are training your model on your laptop, you deploy it so that people can also have access to it. So business. But there are some future trends. As you've realized, these large language models are becoming more, they are appearing everywhere. And this shows that if you are learning statistics, the future is bright. Because you are moving into a future where everything that we are being taught or we learn here is being applied. So it means, just as Ichuli said, if you get a third class in statistics, it's better than getting a first class in some other courses. Because there are some other courses that when you are done with school, you are limited to just one job. It's either you do that job or you can't get a job. And with that job, there are no jobs in Ghana. But with statistics, there are jobs everywhere. You can be in Ghana and be working with a company in the US, somewhere, and you are still getting paid. So in conclusion, statistics is essential in machine learning and AI. Statistics is very important, and there are a variety of statistical techniques that can be used in machine learning and AI. There are some ethical considerations that we all have to keep in mind. And most importantly, statistics is the building blocks of machine learning and artificial intelligence. Right, so I added some resources where you can get more information about machine learning and AI. You can learn more. Kaggle, for example, Kaggle has a lot of crash courses in machine learning and AI. Most of them are in Python and R. So based on what you want, you can just learn and then you can apply it to grow. Thank you. If you want to get the slides, you can get it by scanning the code or using this link. And I'm open to questions. Any questions?
So can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Are you part of my tier list? Are you part of my tier list? List of tiers. Why are you not considered as tiers for the department? So you see me in my office. I mean, this is a beautiful presentation. I've just told Dr. Okran to make an arrangement for you to talk to the master students on it. I appreciate everything. I think you said whatever I've always wished to say in a simple presentation. So I would want to propagate this for students to understand the relevance. Because I've always wanted students to get this, most especially the level 100s. when we are selecting programs, they are all going to computer science. Okay. Sometimes you ask yourself that the ball is here, what you use to make the ball, or how you can make the ball is here, you are rushing for the ball. You get the point? And so we should create very good platforms for him to do these presentations for students. You know, that's my specialty. You know, that's my specialty. These are machine learning, that is my specialty. You said everything in 1 minute, so most grateful. We'll be using you for most things. Okay? And you see me in my office after.
Any other questions? I brought some stuff, so
I want to question so that
I'm not thinking about it. But you have to end it. So questions? Any questions at all?
So please, before you came to the studio, I read out that you are the lead for Google Arts. Please, I've never heard of this. That's please, can you talk about
Yeah, so Google Developer Student Class are university-based groups for students to learn Google Developer technologies. So there's an API called TensorFlow Keras, which is used for machine learning and AI, which is a Google product. We have other Google products like Android. We have Android for right. The OS that you're using, Android. There's Google products. We have Flutter. We have Google Search Engine. So these are like campus-based communities where students learn how to develop their skills in these areas.
Some of us are in final year. You know, have to do like when I final year, NSS will be starting soon, and then maybe like the workforce. But then we want to do this too late for us to join. That's like if I was in 200 hours sitting here, I don't know, I have time to really can spend some time like every Saturday, the weekends, and then there's also the coding club I can join to learn about like machine and things like that. But then some those of us who are going to the workforce right now and we want to like know about this, is there like a way for us to start? And then also your club, you said it's for students. Those of us who are in our final year, is it possible for us to join or like cast?
So it's never late. You understand? I always tell people that there are two universities. We have the university that we attend, and we have the University of YouTube. Everything is on YouTube. Literally everything. Apart from probably how to kill someone or how to do it. You understand? So everything is on YouTube. You are doing your service. You are not going to work from, let's say, you wake up at 6. You are not going to work till the end of the day. After work, you can spend some 1 hour. Every day, you learn something, you practice, you learn and practice. Don't just be reading online. If you read and you don't put it into practice, you're not doing anything, you're just wasting your time. So, you are informed that it's not late. You have one, you are doing yourselves. That 1 year that you are doing yourselves, you can master. People, there are 14-year-olds who taught themselves how to learn. You have the benefits. You are being taught the foundations. All that's left is for you to build on that. So it's never late. Once you are determined that you want to do it, you can always do it. You have people over 60 plus. In Google, the head of AI and machine learning is over 60 years. You understand? But it all depends on you. I cannot force you to learn. You understand? So you have to be willing that you want to learn. So it's not late to come.
Answer the topic.
So, generally, I have no knowledge about machine learning or anything. All that I've been learning since I came from Actuarial, linear regression, Python, gamma, and all those stuff. So, if I would want to start something like this, as you said that there are videos on YouTube, what kind of videos am I to watch? Is there any channel that you can subscribe to that would start teaching us from basic and we come to the stuff?
So on YouTube, for example, Google has a YouTube channel. It's called Google Career Certificates. And there's a crash course on machine learning. But then that's an introduction. They introduce you to the various machine learning concepts. the algorithms, and all these things. Once you have all these things, what's left of you is to learn more. So if you go to the resources, I added cargo. And cargo is, they have levels. They have introduction and they have intermediate. So if you're a beginner, you go to introduction and you learn the introduction. One thing that I told you is, when you are learning, have a structure. If you have a structure that you used to learn, you will not go off course. But if you don't have a structure, today you watch this video, you just jot it down, tomorrow you're going to learn something. In the end, you realize that you've not learned anything. You understand? So have a structure. And with these structures, you can just search online. I want to learn machine learning. What is the structure I should follow? These ChatGPT and BART, they are all available. You can use all these things to learn. But then our advice is that you learn crash courses. So when you go on YouTube, you can search machine learning crash course. Crash course is like everything all in one. We have like 3 hours, 4 hours long videos. You can be watching it in bits. Whenever you have time, you watch, you practice, you watch, you practice. And then in the end, you realize that you are improving.
Machine learning AI like the same thing.
So as I said, AI is like College of Business and Applied Science, right? And AI is School of Physical and Mathematical Science. So AI is a broader picture. Machine learning is an aspect of AI. You understand? AI is more like it built on machine learning. But all these things, they are foundation statistics. So machine learning is, let me see, it's a branch of AI. But they are not the same. Somehow the same, but they are not the same. It's just a branch. Then I'll So can you specify the in-person? I don't understand that one.
So like maybe if there's someone who is
So even if you are being taught in person, right, you have to practice on your own. So you can combine both of them. So someone teaches you, but then when you go, you practice. It's not everything that someone can teach you. Because probably the person is busy. In data mining, you are taught data pre-processing and all these things. You might think that it's not practical, but then when you go and read on these things, you realize the practicality aspect of all these things. So if there's someone to teach you physically, go for that. But then when you are done, you have to practice on your own. You can't just come for start 240 and start 230 lectures, and then after that you go and see. You see, it's like a language. We call it programming language for a reason. If you are learning, let's say Hausa, and then let's say you are in Nima and you learn Hausa, you are sticking with the Hausa people. When you leave Nima and you come and stay in, let's say Lagos, and you don't get people to speak with them, automatically, like slowly, it will fade off. That's how programming language is. If you learn something today, next week you might even forget. So programming language is something that you have to always practice. So it's not that you have to practice, let's say 5 hours, 10 hours, you have to code 10,000 lines. If today you can just learn how to find a mean, do it today. Tomorrow, how to plot a box plot, do it. Like this. The more you do it, the more you become good at it. It's like when you're learning a language, some of us did French, right? You see that now you don't speak the French anymore. If I ask you something in French, you might not even remember. But if you had someone that you always speak French with, by now it would have been better. So once you do it, you practice. You do it, you practice, you practice. Any other question? Ask the questions. Any other question?
Okay, let me ask you what is the thin line between specificity and sensitivity? You know sensitivity. You know accuracy. Now, question of the model lies on specificity and sensitivity. Have you heard of these two, right?
Yeah.
So, are you able to tell us what should we be looking at as machine learning experts, sensitivity or specificity?
So, sensitivity and specificity. Sensitivity is just as it sounds, sensitive. You understand? And specificity means specific. In my view, I don't really know which is best, but I'll opt that you don't go for one-sided, or depending on what you are doing, read more on what you are doing. Because in machine learning, let's say you have a data science project, we have different people coming on board. We have data scientists, we have machine learning engineers, we have subject matter experts. Because, for example, if you are doing something in public health, you may not have knowledge in public health, but then there may be a subject matter expert in public health. So be communicating with these people. You don't, as a machine learning expert or data scientist, you don't work in isolation. You work with teams. Just as HOD mentioned earlier, he said you are part of the management. And as part of the management, you communicate with the stakeholders. So if you are doing a project and you go off course, then you've not done anything. So in as much as possible, try and communicate with the people that you are working with. If there is no subject matter expert, you have people on YouTube. Try and read more. And if you don't know something, try and be real. Don't be as if you know, and then in the end you fail. If you don't know, find out. It's like when you go for an interview and they ask you, can you speak French? And you go and put yes. Eventually they will find out, one way or the other. People lie on their CVs, and during the interview they may not find out. But one day, they'll find out, and it may cost you. So if you know something, talk about what you know, and what you don't know, just say you don't know. I have some pencil. Okay, Johnson, can share.
So let me make a reaction to that. So he answered the question very well, just aligning in his knowledge. But the optimal point you need is not to go for specificity or sensitivity, but to be in between. Because an optimal algorithm is that with a good sensitivity and good specificity. And so you don't choose, if my sensitivity is high and my specificity is low, I'm not a good algorithm. So we have something we call ROC curve. That's a receiver operating characteristic, where you have high sensitivity and optimally good specificity. That is the algorithm that we do. Sensitivity actually means that the algorithm is able to tell you this is true when it's actually true. And specificity is telling you that this is false when it's actually false. So when it's being sensitive, okay, to the truth, and it's being specific to identify that which is false. And we need all in a bit of a good algorithm to lie in the middle and make the decision.
Alright, so thank you guys for listening.
Thank you, Gabriel, for the presentation. I might say we came here to launch the week celebration, but I mean, we've had more than that. Let's appreciate Gabriel once more. Now, the address made by the HOD, Professor Lucy, Dr. Chapman, and Gabriel, and our President Josh, should tell us that the field that we are studying, there's much more to it. And as a student, as you are, I want to say, please, let's really force and try our best and get more knowledge in this and build on what you are being taught in class in the practical world. Gabriel said a lot that we should go on and learn things on our own. And if we need guidance, we can seek those who already have what knowledge in them. All right. Before we bring the program to an end, UGAS has social media handles that we all have to follow. Please, on Twitter at UGAS_, Instagram at UGAS Official. LinkedIn, I hope you all know LinkedIn by now. University of Ghana Actuarial Science and Statistics. I'll repeat once more. Twitter at UGAS _. Instagram UGAS Official. And we are on YouTube too at University of Ghana Actuarial 2623. Then LinkedIn, University of Ghana Actuarial Science and Statistics. Now we are moving to the. Okay. So we'll take our closing remark. Okay, please.
So yes, before we end the whole meeting, as the schedule for the God's Week celebration has been publicized to us all, God willing, tomorrow we are celebrating our lecturers. We are having our lecturers appreciation day. On Thursday is the African Wear Day, where we also have people also selling here. And Friday, the day I know you are all waiting for, the day to beat statistics students once again as actuarial students.
That's one.
Yes, we have always, actuarial science students have always beaten statistics students. I know HOD wants to give them another opportunity to redeem themselves, because it has never happened that the quiz competition is held twice in an academic year. But we are just going to beat them again just to see our confidence as actual science students. Yes, so, on this note, we declare the UGAS Week celebration duly launched.
Thank you, Johnson. Okay, please, at this moment, we call on Emmanuel Dankwa to give us a closing remark.
Thank you for the opportunity. Our time is fast spent, so I'm going to start. We thank God Almighty for the opportunity He has given us today to be together as a society to launch our week celebration. We want to also thank our HOD, Professor Louise Esiu. Can we please put our hands together for the immense support and direction he has been giving us as a department. We also want to appreciate our patron. She's been doing so well for us. Can we please put our hands together for Dr. Charlotte Chapman-Wadi for the great work she's been doing. Thank you very much. God bless you. We want to also appreciate Dr. Eric. Dr. Eric, massive support for the entire student body to aid us achieve greatness. We want to say a very big thank you. And then our own Master Gabriel, thank you so much for the insights you've given us. And then as well, we want to appreciate everybody for your presence, for the time you made. You took off your busy schedule to be here. God bless you all. So we hope to see you actively involved in all the activities that are going to be happening. Thank you very much.
Before we take our closing prayer, let's invite the Vice President of the Society, Ms. Thomas Shamea, to give us a very short announcement.
This is a quick one, just to learn. So this Thursday, Lens Vision is coming. So Lens Vision.
Lens Vision.
Yes. So all those who want to check their eyes out, if you need glasses. Yes. And also Friday too, there will be health screening. So if you want to check your genotype, your BP, and all those things. So please come and please encourage your friends to also come. Thank you.
As we bring the program to an end, I'll call on our sister, Queensta, to give us the closing prayer. Let's do that.
Please let's all bow down our heads in prayer. Our Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for bringing this program to a successful end. We pray and ask that you continue to bless this department and you help us to progress in everything that we do. In Jesus' mighty name we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen.